Hey guys, I'm back with another beauty snapshot, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, I was super duper excited because e.l.f. just released some newer brushes through their studio line, and I do love the studio line brushes from e.l.f. and I was definitely excited to get them. The brushes I'll be talking about is the e.l.f. contouring brush, which is all the rage right now, the e.l.f. ultimate blending brush, the e.l.f. This one is a little bit older, but I haven't really talked about it, so I figured I'd include it. It's the e.l.f. Crease Brush, and then this one right here, which is the e.l.f. Eyebrow Duo Brush. So first one I'm going to talk about is the e.l.f. Eyebrow Duo Brush. I love brushes like this. These are very easy to use if you are into applying the pomade type products to your brows. I think this is a really nice tool. I felt like this, as far as quality wise, I don't really have the more expensive Anastasia double-ended brushes to compare this with, but for the other brushes that I have from Morphe and from Crown Brush, I feel like this is actually really nice and it performed quite well. I didn't have any problem as far as the bristles being too flimsy in applying the pomade product to my brows, so performance wise this was a good product. At $3, I thought this was a good product to have. The next one I want to talk about is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. So at first glance, when I looked at this, I figured, oh, this looks kind of similar to e.l.f. buffing brush. So if you kind of compare the two, they're pretty similar as the size and the shape of the actual brush, but where they differ is the density. The e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush is a lot more dense compared to the Real Techniques buffing brush. I usually use the Real Techniques buffing brush for lighter foundations since it really grabs lighter foundations, more liquidy foundations, and it really spreads the product evenly. And as far as using this blending brush, I felt like this would make a really good brush for thicker foundations that are a little bit harder to blend because it has a lot more bristles. And as far as blending the foundation to my face, I think it performed really well. It's very soft. It maybe shed maybe 1 or 2 hairs, and I felt like this brush is actually really nice and it would make a really good blending brush for foundations. It doesn't it doesn't absorb too much product, and I think this is a well-built brush in general. The only thing is though, I do have a problem with the price. I mean, e.l.f. products usually are quite cheap to begin with, but they marketed this as $6, and the original studio brushes, even the powder brush, is only $3. So I don't know what makes this special. Maybe the duo bristles make them a little bit more expensive, but for the most part I thought that was kind of not fair to make it double the price of their original released brushes from the studio line. So if you wanted to compare this brush to size-wise to the powder brush, this one's almost the same size, except this is just rounded all around, and it's a really nice brush because it's round to just blend foundation all over your face. If you were curious of how the blending brush compares to the e.l.f. mineral powder brush, since it is a very similar kind of feel brush, the mineral powder brush is a lot smaller compared to the blending brush. The next brush I want to talk about is the e.l.f. contouring brush. Contouring is all the rage right now. Almost every single company out there is coming out with a contour kit, so I was definitely excited to get this because I have been kind of obsessed with collecting flat type brushes that would be suitable for contouring. So I have about 5 other contouring brushes that I wanted to compare this with if you guys are curious on size wise. As far as performance wise, I felt like this was a really good brush with powder. I haven't really used it for cream contour, but I feel like this would perform with cream contours as well because of the synthetic bristles. And with the size, I felt like this was a perfect kind of middle ground in comparing it with all the flat brushes that I own. It's kind of not too small but not too big, but it's a good enough size to kind of go into the crevices of your face to contour and sculpt you. So I felt like this is a good brush. Again, with the price, it is $6, so I don't know why this powder brush would be $3 and a flat brush, maybe the magical duo thing makes it worth $6. But for the most part, it's a good brush and I do recommend it if you're in the market for a new brush. And e.l.f. always has some coupon codes that make these products cheaper. The only coupon code I could find for these was the $5 off, so it basically just took off the shipping. And last but not least is the e.l.f. Crease Brush. I was really excited when this was first released because I wanted a kind of precise crease brush because I have somewhat hooded lids, and this would be a good brush to kind of go into like the smaller areas of my face, or just to kind of precisely kind of sculpt the crease area of my eye. But the only thing I found with this was it's a little too flimsy, and it has synthetic bristles. When it comes to the battle between natural bristles and synthetic bristles, when it comes to eye brushes, I favor the natural bristles more because they pick up a lot more product. I felt like synthetic brushes performance with picking up pigments and whatnot is not as good compared to natural bristles. So I mean, this is good in blending, but I felt like it was a little too small and it was a little too flimsy to pick up anything in product. So I'm a little bit iffy on this brush, but if you were on a budget and you can get it, this is only $3, so I think it's not too completely bad, but I do favor more of a natural bristle, and this one is a really good size. So if I can find a brush this size in a natural bristle and I have something to compare this with, maybe I can tell you better, but this is the only one I own that's this size. This brush is very, very small compared to a regular 224 blending brush. Definitely geared towards people who want that really precise kind of cut crease look, or just people who have smaller lids and you don't want anything like enormous to kind of overpower your lids. So that is it for my mini reviews for these brushes. I hope you guys found this helpful, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!